thanks for joining us this morning on the Print Solutions Mactac webinar. I'm here with Shane, the Mactac specialist, and Ash, specialist application guy. Right. I said we're going to be online for 45 minutes. Ash, at the end of the 45 minutes, is going to answer any questions and answers. And at the end, we'll have a form on the site. If you fill it in with any questions or you want anybody to contact you, we'll be in touch. And I'll pass you over to Ash.
Thank you very much. Yep, so my name's Ash. I'm the Mactac vehicle wrap trainer, and today we're going to be touching on the Mactac colour wrap, showing the huge benefits of obviously the colours that are available. I do have Shane with me. Shane, who's technical, he's going to help me help me with a few areas. What we're going to touch on is we're going to follow me around. I've prepped the front bumper. So what the key things for the webinar is we're going to sort of show basically show just how far we can take this product. So we're going to touch on the trickier areas. So we've got the front bumper here. We're going to work that round, show some fitting techniques and also application techniques on that. We do have some that we've prepped beforehand just so we can show you the finishing and just exactly how it looks obviously on completion. After the front bumper, we're going to go around to sort of the mirror and door handles. So we'll be touching on that. So Shane, can I borrow you? So again, obviously we've already prepped the bumper. You can see I've already run the masking tape under the headlights. I've done a bit of the prep work beforehand. Masking tape takes away any surface energy, so I don't get the wrap sticking to the headlight giving me problems. I can nicely work that round. So we're just going to release this liner. Set that round, Shane. Thank you very much. So I'll just grab my heat gun. So again, just going to warm the screw up. Get to the full piece. The heat, this will make it compliable for us to just stretch around the front bumper. And pretty much there we are. Just a little bit more. And now we're just going to slowly stretch this around. All I'm doing at the top and the bottom is just holding the fingers out, keeping the panel nice and flat. As Shane's pulling it round. Perfect. That's it. And you can see that's kind of what we're looking for, a nice sort of flat finish to the film. Just following this body line around. Get a nice fit. Again, the benefits of taking it round in one piece, obviously we're not going to pull any sort of colour and shift anything like that. With any small things that you see like that, it just eliminates any creases or any problems it might give us. And just working to the hard points. So once I've got that on now, all I'm going to do with the glove on is again just soften the material here and just work that in, just glove that in nice. This is the same under the headlight there, is just soften that, just relax the material. And we're just going to work them areas around. I'm looking for a nice easy fit. Again, I've put some masking tape under here just so I'm not risking cutting on any sort of paintwork. And I can just come down here just to release this. You can see the masking tape there. And then just finish this corner off. And again, just a little bit of heat. Not too much there, I'm going to sort of risk pulling any colour out. And just work that down. Squeeze it. that's it then, that's ready for trimming up and edge cutting. Again, I'll just run the heat around there and you can see we've got no overstretch, nice relaxed material that we can just roll and finish. So obviously if you just follow me around here, you can see once it's been applied you can see the trimming up and everything's sort of trimmed up, and we've cut under here under the headlight and everything's tucked under, cutting around the parking sensors and obviously around the washer jets like that. Cool. That's the front bumper. So what I'll do now is I'll take you around, we'll show some techniques on the wing mirrors and the capability of stretching over the wing mirrors. Again, I have prepped the driver's side, so we'll go around there once we've done. Two ways of doing wing mirrors, depending on obviously your skill level and you know, and what you're comfortable doing. The most popular is to run an inlay, what we call an inlay on the side of the mirror. So if you just follow me in here, and you can just see the piece. You can see around there, what we've done is prep this early and put an inlay on the side. You're just eliminating any overstretch and the material giving you problems further down the line. Once the mirror's prepped, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to hook this over. I'm just going to pin it there just to obviously hold it in position while I work the heat over. And then again, the heat going on, concentrating on the full area, warming the full piece up. And you can see what we're going to do is work that over. And then all I'm going to do, leaving the edges slightly, I'm just going to soften this and just really just basically and call this back around this edge, and you can see we'll get a nice fit. We've not got any material that's overstretched or anything that's going to give us any issues. You can just work that around. You can see we've got a nice uniform finish then. Just work over that edge. Just to find where the piece is underneath, so you get a nice neat little overlap. Okay, it's just a case of just running the heat round, relaxing all the material. And you can see a nice easy fit. Obviously, once we've stretched that round, it's absolutely critical that we go through the process what we call post-heating. So what we've got to do now is, again, you've got to be mindful of this isn't plastic, and there's a lot of electrical elements in here. So you're just running your heat gun at around 6 or 7, something like that. And then what we're going to do is, on roughly 2, and we're just going to post-heat that wing mirror. We're going to look for around 90 degrees. You can see just slowly working that heat. You're going to run obviously all the way around the mirror. Yeah, it's about 90 degrees there. Same all the way around the edge. Where we've got the overlap, post-heat that. Once it's all post-heated, just a case of letting it cool down. Obviously, once it has cooled down, what we'll do then, running the blade in the gap. Oh, camera's dancing back in a second. Yeah, we're just going to run our blade neatly in between the gaps. So again, we're not putting on any paintwork, we're not risking damaging the vehicle. you're just going to put in that body line, following that round nice and neatly. So what I'll do is I'll just slowly take it round to the other side, and then we'll have a look at the one that we've already done here. And you can see, it's key to leave it to cool down, because trying to cut the vinyl when it's very warm is incredibly tricky. So always let it cool down. So what you do is you'd obviously get your one side on, get it all post heated, come round to the other side and work on your other side. Again, post heat it. By the time you finish that, you go round to the other side, it's already cooled down, ready to trim up. And you can see that's a finished product once done. You can just see just how conformable the film is. You know, it is a 3D full cast film. You can see just the paint matte finish that you can gain from it. This is pretty much ready to trim up now. So I'll do is a nice new blade. Always snap a new blade off. Put it on the floor. And again, obviously cutting on our overlap vinyl. So I'm going to do. Really lightly, literally just the weight of the blade, no pressure at all. See, we'll just rip off. You see we've got a nice neat cut down there. And then again, what we're going to do, you can see if you really get close here, you can see how we've got the gap between the plastic and the paint. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to carefully sit my blade in that gap. And I'm just going to follow that round. Again, just really taking my time, really lightly. Once I hit that point there, again I'll just switch over. I'll just start from the corner here. Again, you can see where the blade's going. It's just sitting in the gap. So I'm not on any paintwork at all. I'm just really lightly just cutting around, following that body line round. Just removing the excess. You can see we've got a full face now. And again, you can see the overlap, it's very minimal. And that's the safer way to do it. It's completed mirror, yeah. Fantastic. So again, we've shown obviously the front bumper, working on that, the mirrors. What I will do, we'll go around and I'll show you a little trick on the door handles. Now, what we do with the door handles, you always try and remove them if you can. It's always obviously get a better, more uniform fit. However, there is instances, you know, it depends on customer expectation, things like that, where they're quite tricky to get off. You know, sometimes you've got to really take all the door cards out and it can be quite a bigger job. So again, there's little techniques where you can do where you can wrap the door handles in. So what I'll do is I'll just show you here. What I've prepped earlier is I've run some what we call as inlays in, following these body lines here and here, so the pieces are run round. That's the first start of the prep work. If I quickly take you around to the other side of the car, I'll just show you one once completed. So obviously we've already done the door on these sides just to show, and again you can see there we run to the body lines, so they're practically invisible. You can't see those at all. So obviously once the door and they're done, we then go on to wrap the door handle. So again, if you follow me back down here. So what I've done is I've already done a bit of the prep work with the masking tape. Now you've got to remember, masking tape's a fantastic tool for wrapping. obviously if we need to ever cut on anything, you're cutting on the masking tape, you're not cutting on any paintwork or any trims. And secondly, it takes away any surface energy that we'll get to the vinyl trying to stick to the paintwork, giving us issues stretching over. It eliminates that because obviously that's what the masking tape does. So I've already got the masking tape on there prepped. Same with my piece of vinyl. You're always going to go a little bit bigger. You don't want to go too big because it ends up quite difficult to handle. So you can see I've kind of just gone sort of double the width of the door handle there. Again, I will start these because we've got quite a convex shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold that on there so it helps me out, and I'm just going to hook that front edge over like so, and I'm just going to lock that in position. So I've got a nice lock in there. I'll just grab my heat gun, sorry, just here. And then all I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this away. And similar, I'm just going to warm the full piece up. And I'm just going to stretch this over like so, and just open it up over that back edge. See, what I'll do now is I'll just warm that up just to shrink that back, and you can see it's just practically wrapping itself over that door handle. So we know we've got no overstretched material. It's going to give us any problems further down the line. In this case it's just working over that door handle like so. Like I said, it is always easy if you can get them off, but you know, it's not. Sometimes that's not the case. So there is these little tips and tricks that we show just to do them on. And it's just a case of the same underneath. We're just going to relax that and work that in there. Once that's on there, I'm just going to run the heat over just to relax everything. Make sure we've got no overstretched vinyl. And that's absolutely perfect. Yeah. So again, you can see there, now we've got everything on, we've got a nice uniform fit. Similar process to the door handle because we have put quite a bit of stretch over here. Because you're just going to, again, heat gun on around 7. You know, not too much that we're going to risk burning or damaging anything, and just slowly post heating that to around 90 degrees. And on that back edge. So that's now post heated. So again, what we'll do is let that cool down. Again, you just move on, start your next door handle while that's cooling down. So again, I'll take you back round to the other side now, and we'll show you one that was already done, trimmed up. You can see that's the finished. Finishing what we're doing again, similar. So you're not cutting any paintwork, your blade just sits on the back of the door handle like so, and you just neatly trim around there and cut around there. Again, maybe some trim for the front bumper. We'll leave the front bumper. What I'll do. Another quite tricky area that we do obviously is the aerials, because a lot of these are now colour coded, painted. So again, you put quite a lot of stretch in the material on these, so you've got to, again, you can get them off, but it tends to be quite a big job. You're talking like the headlining dropping out and things like that. It can be quite tricky. A lot of them are bonded on as well, so you've got to be really careful. So again, there's ways of doing them whilst they're on, because we've got this rubber seal here. So again, I'll just do a bit of prep work with some masking tape. masking tape again somewhere. Yeah, thank you very much. So again, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to lock that front edge in. It's on there. Heat. Put a little bit of heat on, not too much. And I'm just going to stretch it over that top fin. Like that. Just a little bit more heat. Just like that there. And then we're going to go to one side, so I'll wet this side in while I'm here. I'm just going to glove right down the side of the fin. You can see they are very, very fiddly to do. So what we're looking for is kind of that sort of finish there. You can see that. And again, I'll just relax the material just around this bottom side here. Again, just soften just around that bottom edge. You can see we've got no overstretch, which is perfect. So what I'm going to do now, I'll go around to the other side and do the exact same. So basically what we're left with is this at the back there. You can see what I'm doing with my hand is I'm just kind of guiding it round. And then I'm just going to glove right down the side there, straight into that there. Just softening the material around that back edge there. That's fine. Then again, I'll just shoot round to the other side and make the cut. So if you want to follow me around here. Pull that wire out. Can you please come share? Wires stuck behind the wheel. I'm going to do it from the back at the top. I'm just going to make one neat cut right through there. So I'll just put that around there, don't need to worry about that. And then again, I'm just going to put what they call as a relief cut, this bottom corner here, just allow this just to swing around. Just work that around the back. Like so. And again, once that's done, obviously we'd post heat at this stage before we cut. Obviously I'm just showing you as an example, so once this has been post heated, I'm just going to cut right up the middle of the back there. Same around the bottom where the rubber is, because we can just tuck that into the rubber. Just take some of this excess away that we don't need. I'll just put a relief cut just at the back. A little bit of heat. And we can just work that round. Again, we're just looking for that nice, neat little overlap down the back. What I'll do is I'll just go to the other side just to finish that off. Going to heat that just to soften everything up. I'm just going to cut the back, so similar to the mirror, so what we'll end up with is a nice neat little overlap running right up the back of the fin. And you can see, so you get that real finish. And again, all we do to just trim up is against the rubber there, is just neatly cut around that rubber to get a nice uniform fit. Like I said, some of them you can do one piece. These will be quite tricky. There is techniques, but again, it's that you know, do you go to the expense of removing it? You know, getting a body shop technician in just to wrap the aerial in one piece, when you know you can end up with a finish like that that's literally so practically invisible at the back, and you obviously you're eliminating all that time of having to try and take it off, taking the headlining out of the car. So again, that's my go-to technique for doing them, and I do them quite often. Cool. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll just follow around. So now, obviously, I'll show them that. The door handle will have cooled down. So I'll come back and I can show you the trimming up of the door handle. So again, nice new blade. So nice and cool. So again, similar to the mirror, we're not on any paintwork. We're just going to put this blade just down the back of the handle, which you can see there, and just lightly cut around the side there. I'm just following that around the inside of the door handle. There is like a plastic lip on the inside, so again, it's just a case of just following the blade around in that gap there. You can see it just follows around nicely. Right underneath, and again we can just follow that on onto that inside edge there. You can see the blade just neatly just runs right around the edge. Let's put all the way around and we'll check again. Let's just peeling the excess off. And then with the glove, what we'll do is just make sure everything's down. That's it. You can see you get a nice finish. I always just go around with the heat just afterwards just to make sure everything's down. There we go, the handle's finished. Yeah, okay, so obviously, like I said, with the heat around the end, at the end, that just makes sure everything's sealed down. We're not going to get anything lifting up, because the thing with the door handles is they take quite a lot of traffic with hands, movement up and down. So anything that's not just stuck down can start to get aggravated and start lifting, and that's when, you know, issues start arising. So the heat at the end, it just makes sure everything's just sort of flattened down, and it's basically just finishing it off. Cool. Yeah, so we touched on the mirror, so let's have a look. We'll finish off a little bit of the trimming on the front bumper. Again, I'll just show the techniques under the headlight, coming around this side. So an average bumper can take roughly 2 to 3 hours to completely wrap, so there's quite a lot of time in it. Just going to soften this under the headlight here. Basically just going to work this up. Again, this is one of the massive benefits of running the masking tape. As you can see, we're not getting any vinyl trying to stick and attach to the headlight, so we can just slowly work all that in, whilst making sure the material's still all nice and relaxed. You can see, which is perfect. And again, obviously once running around the edges, just defining them edges. Then with the blade, again, all I'm going to do is just pop it through, and I'm just going to sit it on the underside of the headlight, so you can see I'm not touching any paintwork at all. I'm just resting it on that headlight. Again, depending on expectations, you can take headlights out. Again, it can be quite a big job, because more often than not now you've got to drop all the front bumper off the car, and it's quite a process. And again, I'm just going to follow it on this back side. Just following that round. Just cutting up against the wing there, just through that. Release that excess. Do that there. And then again with the squeegee, What I'm going to do, outside the squeeze, I'm just going to tuck that in nice and neatly under that headlight. Just following that round, just tucking that in nice and neatly. You can see you get a nice snug fit in there. And then all we'll do then is just finish off under the wheel arch. Again, it's just a little bit of heat. So you just defining that edge. And all I'm going to do with a blade, I'm just going to pop it through, sit it on the back edge of the front bumper. And I'm just going to slowly just work that knife down. Just cutting down like that. And again, you see if you just follow around with the camera, you can just see you just get a nice fit under there. So an average exterior wrap like this, you'd be hoping to have the car for roughly 3 days. I said, obviously, there's quite a process for cleaning. We say one of the most critical parts of a good wrap is the cleaning stage. Obviously, again, you've got to be mindful with the colour chip, with the Mactac colour wrap. We have our very own surface cleaner. It has to be used in the film. That's what it's designed for. So we've got the Mactac cleaner there. That's the surface cleaner, that's your final cleaning before you start wrapping. Absolutely critical you use the correct cleaners. You look around 2 full days average for a full wrap, and then it's the finishing off. You always try and keep the car in overnight, let things settle down, make sure, check over it with a fine tooth comb day after, make sure it's absolutely spot on, and then that way your customer's ready to have the car back, everything is absolutely pristine. Is that okay?
Okay, that's perfect. Thanks for that.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Guys, just we have a few questions just to come back. We've got a couple. Sebastian Studios asked a question. What is meant by post-heating?
Post-heating, you want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So post-heating, what you've got to imagine, it's a cast film. It's 3D conformable. So when you're stretching that material in, so I'll give you an example. So what we call is a concave area here, or say for instance a recess on the side of a van. When you stretch that material in, basically, you're taking the shape out of the material. So what you do is post-heating process, once it's all stretched in and you're happy with everything, absolutely critical. Once you've finished that panel, you've got to post-heat this to 90 degrees. And what 90 degrees is, it resets the memory of the film. Basically, you know that it's not going to start lifting. You'll see it all too often where they skip the post-heating stage. The vehicle comes back in a couple of months because it's all started popping out and failing. It's probably because it's not been post-heated. So again, there is the laser temps that you've seen me use in the webinar that you can buy. Absolutely critical when you're a vehicle wrapper. Thanks for that question. Thank you.
Perfect. Next one, Razor Orr asked a question. Will this material cover light scratches?
It's a tough one. It depends on the rule is if you can feel it with your fingernail, you're probably going to see it under the material. It is only a single face film, so it's only 80 microns. That makes it incredibly well to work with, but it is a bit less forgiving on sort of any damage and scratches and dints. So it's probably always best to address them. Or what we sometimes do if the vehicle is a little bit older, just get an off cut of the material you're going to use, just stick a little bit over first, and just see what you think.
So what do you think?
Yeah. So when surface preparation from a manufacturing perspective as well is that we work on new car paint effectively. So. The idea is not to hide a scratch, so we would always recommend to rather have the surface prepared, have the clay potentially sprayed or clay barred first so that you get the scratches out.
Perfect. A couple of generic ones then in. Does it come in a range of colours?
Yes, all the popular colours. So as you can see with this colour, the Cannonball, matte metallic, we've got metallics, we've got glosses, we've got standard colours. So 50 colours in the range. So really it's all the popular colours that most people want. So yes, quite a range.
Perfect. Another question, is it printable?
This product is not printable, this is not designed, this is colour change that we have here, but in the wrapping range we do have a product called the RJ10700, which is our digitally printable wrapping range. So yes, that is available, and it does come with warranties, printed warranties, etc.
It's a brilliant product. Brilliant product, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Actually,
Great. Lifespan. How durable?
as durable as it needs to be. So
Yeah.
when I say that perspective, you're talking 8 years. So this is also dependent on zones. So zone 1 being Ireland as a whole, the different zones. So up to 8 years. We also have horizontal warranties as well. So if you're thinking of horizontal, it's quite critical. The vertical is generally what most people talk about. So think about the roof, think about the bonnet, the back of the car. There are large areas which require some warranty. So yes, we do.
Perfect. And just touching on that, one thing to benefit from man with that is keeping the vehicle clean and not using any harsh chemicals when cleaning like TFRs, because they can slowly degrade the wrap. So again, using pH neutral shampoos on them regular will keep the lifespan up there as well.
Okay, that's good. What is unique about this material?
Oh. For you, actually, from an application perspective,
yeah, just how nice it is to fit. You know, we can do a lot of sort of solo installing. You know, I've wrapped quite a lot of cars just on my own, even in tricky areas like the bumpers, like I have done with this car. I mean, I started this on Tuesday evening, and we're pretty much done. It's a really easy product to fit. It's really easy to work with. You know, and another a massive benefit what I found with it is how well it releases off the liner. It practically falls off, because sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. This one, it just falls off. It's really, really good to work with.
Especially when you start talking about larger panels, that can be
panels.
quite tricky.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, so I mean, and also it's a true, as Ash has shown you today as well, it's a fully true conformable.
Yeah,
so
absolutely,
it will
yeah.
stay, so.
Yeah.
Perfect. Another one in guys from Ferg. He asked, can you let us know what size these rolls come in? I'll answer that one for him. It's 1.52 by 25 metres. We will stock 11 popular colours, which will also be available by the metre. And if you hang on until the end of this event and quote Mactac webinar, you can avail of a 4 to 5% discount on the promotion that's been put up there. Another one in, post heating required, 90 degrees, yes or no? We've answered that one there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I
mean,
it's the most critical part of a wrap, that, you know, and to make it durable. You know, you see all too often like wing mirrors that are creeping back and failing. It's because they've not been post heated. So it's absolutely critical. Yeah.
Post heating and cleaning.
Post heating and cleaning, absolutely. Yeah.
Is it conformable for deep recesses?
Absolutely.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take it into a good example. Normally would be the Vito, the Mercedes Vito van, where you have the really deep recesses on the side, and you could take the colour wrap in straight in one go, so you wouldn't have to piece it. You would literally bridge it, and it goes at the full depth.
Perfect. And just quickly on the recesses, when you're doing it and you are working with the film, we always say to leave roughly a squeegee's width centred over the recess. If you are doing a slightly deeper one like the Vito or the Sprinter, just leave slightly more like a squeegee in half, and that will be absolutely fine.
Final question in so far. Is it tried and tested?
It is.
Absolutely. Ash, I was going to say.
I've pushed this material to its limits, believe me, and I've not had any problems. So yeah, it's
tried and tested.
Honestly, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's been on the market for a little while now. It's been across Europe for quite a while as well, so quite a few years. It's tried and tested from that perspective, from the durability as well. So I've got my car wrapped in it at the moment, and it's been wrapped for over a year already. It's still looking good.
Yeah, and don't to jinx it, but we've not had any failures either on it yet, have we? So it's yeah.
People have been following the right process of the application, and the material's performing well. So.
Yeah.
Are there any photos coming?
Another question in? Which one is it?
So we're just looking at some more questions. Are there more colours coming? Well, what I would say is this much. I think you need to have a look at the swatch first, because it's always one of those where someone's looking for the colour that's not in the swatch. Yeah. So I would suggest first have a look at the colour swatch, because we've got all the colours that most people want a car wrapped in already covered. So that doesn't say that we're not going to do more colours, but at the moment first I say look at the swatch first, and then chat to Print Solutions about that, and we can look at what we can do for you guys.
Perfect. Brilliant.
Okay.
That's it. Thanks for all the questions. Yeah.
Thanks guys. Thank you.